Hey guys, I'm John.
I'm Eric.
And this is Knifemaking Tuesday, week 37. Still got a lot of finishing work to do on these bad boys, so let's just get right to it. Okay, one thing that's been bugging the crapola out of me is that trying to get all these knives to lock up properly. A lot of them are sticky, but I have a solution for that. But say this one, right now it's just over halfway, which is too far. But I'm able to push this all the way over, and most of them are like that. And then of course it gets super stuck. And it turns out let me get a blade here. This section of the blade right here is tapered. It's cut on an angle, and I measured it using a digital angle finder and did it pretty accurately, I think. And it's 5.5 degrees. Needs to be more like 7.5 degrees, and that 2 degrees can make a huge difference and prevent it from being able to push it over. Fun fact, I measured a Hinderer XM18 and it's 8 degrees. But every knife's going to be different for its own reasons, but I think 7.5 is going to be good for this one. You Google it on any knife forum and they say 7 degrees is common. So to do that, I'm basically going to start with this blade. I've taken a Sharpie, I don't know if you can see it, and I've Sharpied the face there so that when I make a cut I can tell if the entire face has been cut or not, since I'm cutting it at more of an angle, but I don't want to take off too much material. So I'm just going to go just deep enough until all that black is gone, and I'll do that for everyone. So I'm just skimming a little bit more off. Alright, so I'm setting up my blade on the jig here. As Eric just said, I'm getting jiggy with it. I'm relatively happy with how this jig works. Not sure how I would do it much better, but so the code is basically just set up to do a skim cut and then set up for the next skim cut and pause. And if there's still black, I'll just keep running it again until it is all gone. So it'll go step by step with a pause in between so I can look at it. I guess I might as well explain what's going on. Previously, Eric did use the touch probe and zeroed it onto the jig, except the power went out because we're in a pretty wicked lightning storm right now. And the computer forgot the settings that Eric just put in, the 0 settings for that jig, so I gotta do that again. It's a good thing I didn't let it run, because probably would have crashed. I might have caught it in time, but anyway, so I just gotta zero that hole, save the setting this time. I learned a few years ago using the Mach 3 program that you really don't want to do it in a lightning storm, because if power goes out, for one, you'll lose some settings, and also the machine can predict unpredictably, especially my lathe that I kind of made and set up. If the power goes off and the computer shuts off, and then when the power comes back on, the spindle on the lathe will start spinning, and if your hands are anywhere near it, it'll come on when you're not expecting it. So that can be very, very dangerous. So I've sort of made it a habit of not working during a lightning storm just because of that. But I think the storm's pretty much over now, so should be good to go. The power flickered about 20 minutes ago, but yeah, no. Let's try this again. Oh, God, that's close. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it from that position. Let's try this again. Okay, that's looking better now. that cut a lot more than I needed to. But it's a steeper angle. Okay, this here is my ghetto method for measuring blade angle. This thing is awesome. I got it from Chef Knives to go, along with my Wicked Edge. I think Wicked Edge themselves actually sells it. So it's zeroed out, meaning that this is now parallel, flat to the ground. I put the blade down. I'm using this simply as a straight edge. Okay, it sticks there. And then I have to hold the blade flat to the table. And using my thumb, angle the depth micrometer until I can feel it being totally flat. That's about it right there. It's jumping around a bit. 7.8, 7.95. It's hard to call it. I'd say 7.8. I've seen that number more than others. Yeah, let's call it 7.8. I was going for 7.5, so it's a little much, but I can make a slight tweak to the code for the next one, and I'll measure the next one to see if it worked right. But 7.8 is much better than 5.8, so let's put it together and see what happens. Alright, so I got it put together. And because I took away more material from the blade, it locks up all the way over, which is not very cool, but I knew that would happen. This is a proof of concept. But I don't know if you can see. The way the two angles come together, especially at this sort of lockup, is much better. So I think that I like this kind of angle a lot better than the shallower angle. So to fix this one that locks up too far, all I have to do is machine a custom stop pin, a dowel pin that's like a few thousandths of an inch bigger. I'll do some maths and try to figure it out, but basically if that's bigger diameter, it's going to give the blade a resting closed position of like here. That's exaggerated, but you know, and that's going to take up the extra slack. So the stop pin needs to be whatever this much slack is, bigger. So I got to do some math and figure it out, but shouldn't be too hard. I'll just take a bigger dowel pin, throw it up on my lathe, and turn it down to whatever diameter I need. That's a tip that I've heard from several sources. A few guys at a knife show, a few guys have been talking to on the phone, and I've been hearing about it for months, but I've never actually tried it. So it'll be kind of nice to try out the bigger stop pin and see if it works for me. I'm sure it will. Sometimes you forget about these little tips that you hear and you pick up now and then, but when it suits you and when you need to use it, they become extremely helpful. What happened?
Just cut myself with a dull blade.
Oh, good one. Ew.
Yep. I'll do that.
The implement of death. Yeah, because we machine the edge on the milling machine, you know, it's got a bevel there. There's usually a big burr on the end, but Eric likes to sand that off with the Scotch Brite wheel, and that thing's pretty sharp. Oh my goodness. Eric was showing me before he can slice through paper with it. I mean, it's not extremely sharp and non-toothy, but it can cut paper and obviously people. Scary. Bring on the lightning. That lightning storm lasted for like 6 hours. It's crazy. So we haven't been working all evening, but Finally back out here just a little bit before I go to bed. Got one knife put together. Remember how Eric cut himself? This is a different blade, but equally as sharp. Kind of ridiculously sharp. This is not seen a sharpener. This is not seen a belt to put an edge on it. This is right off the machine and then Scotch braided edge. I've bought knives that aren't this sharp. Holy crap. It's not perfect, but wow. Push cut? No problem. Anyway, I thought that was pretty ridiculous. Eric put a really, really sweet orange peel texture on this one. The other side is blue honeycombs with silver flats. Just amazing. And smooth as absolute butter. So right now I'm machining this dowel pin down to from 1875 to be a stepped pin, so that this section right here is 156 and this section is 161, and then this section is what I'm holding on to it with. These things are a bugger to do. Normally I use stainless steel pins, but I don't have any in this size, so I'm using hardened steel, which is like 60 Rockwell. The stainless steel pins aren't nearly so hard. It's a bugger to machine. And you're only clamping it by such a tiny amount in the jaws. This is even a 1/2 inch pin that I need to then shorten down to 315. But still, even with this 1/2 inch pin, I can only hold on to it by a tiny little amount. And I've had 2 of them now fly out, and they go this way, and they bounce off something over there, and then they fly right over my head, and it's freaking me out. So this last one, I actually went inside and listened to it through the door. But this one seemed to work okay. So now I guess I have to flip it over and turn down the other side to be 156, just like this. Tricky, tricky. Alright, a little bit of an update on the goings-on around here. My lathe sucks a big pile of donkey-doo. I kind of hate it right now. It likes to do this thing where after it's been turned on for about an hour, even half an hour, it just kind of freaks out. I've showed this in a previous video months ago. It'll be moving, 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 and then you hear the steppers skip, and it's not moving, but the computer still thinks it's moving. So it's like this far off all of a sudden for absolutely no reason. Yeah, it likes to do that. So I don't like my lathe anymore. Needs upgrades, needs attention. Been putting all my attention into this pig over here that haven't given any TLC to the lathe. Anyway, so making those stepped bushings was pretty much an epic fail. Trying to machine hardened steel at like 60 Rockwell. Because the motors that I'm using on the lathe are kind of low powered, you have to keep everything a little bit sloppy so that it moves properly, because if it sticks, then the CNC will be confused. So anyway, everything's a little sloppy, and machining hardened steel, like as it's moving into the part, I can see several components on the machine kind of going, and then start machining, and then let off when it's done. It's lame. There's a lot of upgrades I could do to this machine to make it really cool. Anyway, so I'm gonna forget about that for now. I've got a few knives that lock up way too far. The stepped bushings or the step pins would have fixed that, and if I ever get around to it, then I can fix those knives later. But for now, I need to finish the knives that I can finish, because I spent like most of the day trying to figure out those bushings and the lathe and all that, or those pins. I might just have them made. We'll see. But what I did right now is I finished up Eric's knife. This is one of the 2 prototypes that we made originally that we brought to Blade Show, except his didn't lock up, and now it does lock up. And as I mentioned before, I'm trying to fine-tune the angle that I cut the blade tank. This one ended up being about 7.3 degrees, and it's amazing. I used to have everything at 5.6, which is way too low, but I didn't realize that at the time. It measured out to be 5.6, and the lock would stick really, really badly. And at 7.3, no sticking whatsoever. And it's a much more robust lock, and it doesn't break either. You know, like when it locks, you cannot break it down. Flips out like a rocket. I love these knives. So now that I'm getting everything dialed in, all my dimensions, all my settings, all my cut parameters, you know, the 7.3 degrees is perfect. Now I can go through all the blades and do that and get them all to lock up strongly and perfectly. And it won't take long to do that now that I've figured out the process. So I'll be doing that tomorrow first thing. And then all they need left is, like, Eric's got a little bit of sanding to do on them, random anodizing, whichever ones need to be anodized. Doesn't take very long. So clean them up really good and then anodize them, and then sharpen them all. That's like it. There's a few blades that need future work, like the stop pin needs to be bigger, and some other issues. So I'm just going to set those aside for now, but the first part of the first batch should be done like freaking tomorrow. Yay! It's been a really long, hard road figuring all this stuff out so quickly. But fun, stressful, extremely interesting. You know, I'm filming lots of interesting stuff, and you guys all love it too, which is awesome. So, you know, thanks for your support. All the comments are great. I love reading through them and responding back, and it's very nice. Appreciate it. Fly. Shoe fly. I got a new toy. 2 new toys. Be right back. Dun 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 dun. These are pretty sweet. These are DeWalt 12-volt lithium ion, an impact driver, and a screwdriver or drill. Yeah. DCD 710. Cordless drill driver. Cordless impact on this one. Yeah, so these are the 12-volt ones. They also have like 18-volt and 20-volt versions in other brands and stuff. I don't do woodworking. I don't put together decks and stuff. You know, I don't really need 20 volts, and they're quite a bit bigger. I like the littleness of these ones. You know, my wife can use it. My daughter picked it up. She picked it out. Clara picked this out when we were at the store, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like them. They're super lightweight. You know, we're going to be using them all the time for doing fixturing and pallets, and we already use them all the time. One cool thing we figured out you could do is, as I mentioned in my last video, but I didn't have this yet. You can take a pivot pin after it's been turned, put it in here in the chuck, and then either go against the Scotch-Brite wheel or against a piece of 1500 grit sandpaper, and then against a buffing wheel, a non-spinning buffing wheel, just held with your hand. Spin that on high, and it puts an amazing shine onto the top of these. So I like how that looks. The other ones we did are just Scotch-Brited. All the grain kind of goes in one direction, whereas the new ones are circular. And I like machine things, I like turn things, so I like the circular pattern of this one. Either way, they both look great. But alright, other than my knife that I've been carrying for the past few weeks, I'm about to make my very first delivery.
Oh my god. It's beautiful. All nice and smoothed out. Gold honeycombs with buffed everything else. Completely done, except maybe some more anodizing, but we'll see. Yeah, very excited to start carrying one. That's all I got. Oh, fail.
It's writing on that one.
Not where I'm cutting.
Oh, okay.
Now I just sharpened it up with the wicked edge, but the only stones we go up to are 1,000 right now. We're kind of waiting on an order from Wicked Edge. So for now it's a little toothy. But it cuts alright.
Yeah, the stones we're getting are the microfine ceramic and the leather strops with the stropping compound. So I cannot wait to get that.
Yeah, that'll make a world of difference.
Yeah, it takes it from a toothy edge to an oh my god, that's a mirror polished edge.
Yeah.
So you can see the toothiness of the edge there. It's very sharp, but the toothiness kind of bugs me. So once we get the new stones in, then that'll pretty much become mirror polished. And just a lot less gritty. You know, like, here's mine, sharpened on a wicked edge to 1,000, and then sharpened on a Spyderco Sharpmaker with the white stones. And it's a lot glossier.
I can see you rounded that edge though.
I did, yeah.
Whereas I was trying to keep it more.
I see that. So yeah, and the wicked edge stones and strops will make it even better than this is. Because doing it on the Sharpmaker, you're kind of holding the angle by hand. So it got rounded over a lot. And you can see this is one of the old blades that didn't get machined properly, but oh well. Eric put a mirror polish on the spine of the knife here. All the corners are super duper rounded. So yeah, yeah, finally our 2 knives are done. Except they could be sharper.
You know what that means?
What does that mean, Eric?
We get to finish the rest.
Yay!
And we know how. Huzzah!
This table's getting messier and messier.
Gotta ship some of these out.
Yeah, make room.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
We can finish paramilitaries afterwards and then start a new batch.
Yeah, this pile is bugging me. It's in the way. I gotta make stuff and then ship it. So, you happy?
I am. Wondering if I should switch pivot pin sides.
Ah. It's your call.
Yep. But yeah, it's better than I even thought they'd be.
And that's saying something.
It is.
This is from the guy that made it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that first one that we made, or that John made a long time ago, it's awesome and it works well, but it feels very rough and thin, and
The fit and finish is
it's
nothing.
just not there.
No.
These are a lot more solid, and I spent probably way too many hours rounding all the edges on all of them, so at least they kind of feel a little bit nicer in the hand, except, you know, without all those really sharp machined edges.
Any other thoughts?
I managed to keep the gold and the JG on there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I thought I got rid of it, but
You almost can't tell. Yeah, I can see it. So the whole clip was anodized gold and then you scotch brightted the face, right?
Yeah, it just wasn't very smooth.
Yeah.
So the color didn't match up at all, but I kind of like that.
Imagine if that was a darker color, a bronze or a blue or something,
Yeah.
and you scotch braided it down. Well, for this knife then,
We should do
instead of doing a blue clip, let's do a blue accents clip.
Yeah.
Where the
just
JG is blue. I like
and then
that.
the sides will be blue as well.
I like that. So it's not like too in your face.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it'll kind of be like the front side where the edges are kind of polished off.
Yeah. Zoltan.
The Bubble Bunch.
The Bubble Bunch?
It's the song they sing while they're like coming in. I don't know. I think so.
I don't remember.
Because they're wearing these big like.
Oh, the bubble suits.
Bubble suits.
Yeah, the bubble wrap suits. All right, what movie is that from?
There's a lot of hints in there.
Yeah, that was almost too easy.
It looks pretty nice.
It does. I love the clip. I love how it carries in the pocket.
Yeah, it's a bit more refined than like, you know, kind of a regular stamped clip.
Yeah. And the JG engraving is not so gaudy.
No,
you know, it's very subtle. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, Spyderco has their spider right there.
Yeah, and you hardly ever notice it.
Yeah.
I feel kind of weird doing a crotch shot right here, but
Meh, it's a good crotch.
it's a pocket shot. Yeah. Yeah, start carrying it. I mean, you haven't daily carried one.
Nope.
I have been for the past month and a half, so.
It's the start of a new era.
Yeah.
Carrying our own knives.
I know, it's awesome. Alright, show me a quick drama, girl.
I don't want to drop it. It's so pretty right now.
Nice. So you think there's going to be almost 24 people just going, in the next few weeks? Good. Yeah, you guys better appreciate these.
Yeah, they're a lot more work than we signed up for.
Yeah, but we're happy to do it.
Yeah. And it'll only get better.
Yep. It's like the more you do, the more there is to do.
Exactly.
You know?
And then you go back and look at something again, you're like, oh, it's not quite good enough.
Like I've been saying for 4 weeks now, oh, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Driving my wife nuts.
Yep. And all the patient people watching these videos.
Yeah. But I've heard from more than one person, you know, take your time, make it right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to wait.
And that's what we're doing.
Yep.
But
I digest.
I guess we could do Norman's knife now, since we have it all perfect.
That's next. Well, I want to cut the lock bars on all of them.
Right.
Since that's all set up in the jig.
And since they'll all be perfect.
Yeah, that'll take no time. Love that new lock bar angle.
Yeah.
7.3 degrees is epic.
I guess we gotta fix these still, or did you?
No, their lock bar goes over too far. I mean, they're okay.
Ah, it feels so nice, though.
I know, that was stupidly epic.
Yeah.
They're okay, but they could use a bigger stop pin.
That one's just like
just to kick it out a little
air.
bit. No. Well, guys, that's it for this week's video. I wanted to thank you all for watching and supporting me, and Eric. And stay tuned for next week's video. Cheers, guys. Bye.